Then we went to the information revolution, where we had all the information. So we automated all these routine business processes. Anything that we could write a computer program for, bam, we automated that because it's cheaper to do it with software than it was to do it with people. And that was the information revolution, and we started to get serious, measurable gains in the 90s. But what gets economists so excited about social media in business is that there's a lot of, about 40% of what we do can't be automated because we've never done it before. If you are a project manager or anyone, any kind of knowledge worker, you do stuff every day that you've never done before. You have to figure it out right on the spot. It's a complex, collaborative problem solving. You have to come together and go, we have a new situation, a new project. We've never done anything quite like, do anything quite like that again. Financial services is a great example. They have the highest percentage of knowledge workers in any industry. There's many other industries like them. And they haven't had anything really to tackle their problems in the time that we're talking about. So what's really exciting about social media in the enterprise is it allows us to tackle that problem. Get inside that window that we could never reach before and say, look, we can now at last get the productivity in that last box. We've really squeezed down those other two fairly well. We're seeing diminishing returns now, even for IT, for traditional IT. But one that's wide open to us still is this last box, and this is the last bastion of productivity we can squeeze out of organizations. And if you're, depending on what industry you're in, a 5% gain can be a very, very big deal. But there's potential for even more here if we can bring the right tools in. So, summarize the big benefits here. Open communication gives you awareness and transparency. Shared knowledge gives you this collective intelligence that you might have heard about if you've been doing your homework on Web 2.0. Knowledge retention. You know, all those fax workers or those call center workers are walking out the door. They're leaving behind most of what they knew, right? And this is where the shared knowledge and open communication makes all the difference. Anyone can participate. You really want to open this up. The more open you make it, the more you get back. We find the structure of the web, the intrinsic nature of the web is very, very important. There's a reason why the web is the big thing that broke out on the internet, not something else. There's something very important about that we learned. And then we've encouraged these tools to be very emergent and free form, so they can be used for almost any type of activity in our businesses. If you want to manage a project or hire people or do a budget or whatever, perfect, great. All of these social media works for all of that, no problem. Very free form and do it yourself. Hundreds, I track right now hundreds of Enterprise 2.0 projects exist currently. I've tried to study all of them as possible that we can. We're finding, and this is very interesting for this audience here, we're finding that large organizations that have a group that's designed to sit down and think about this, they're doing this first. We thought this would be much more of a, years ago, we thought this would be much more of a small, medium-sized business. Well, these are cheap tools. You don't have to buy SAP, but it depends on what problem you're trying to solve. That should be clear. They overlap, but they don't replace each other. It's really the majority of Global 2000 firms are doing this. Half of them were buying them last year. Now it's going to be up to 3/4 of large businesses will be buying these social media tools for the enterprise in large quantities. That's a big difference. We're not seeing small employers are not doing this. That's the bottom of that chart here yet. But we're seeing that starting to change. Big brands are doing this. Bank of America, Boston College, USW, IBM, Motorola, Northwestern Mutual. Wells Fargo did a roll out of 160,000 seats of these tools for their workers saying, we want the benefits, we get it, we're mostly knowledge workers, so we benefit on all those things we were talking about before. Of all the ones that I looked at, which are all on this list and many others, the results are generally positive. These are the ones for which case studies exist. They are reporting better communication, improved cross-pollination and leveraging knowledge, higher productivity, not in all cases, but in some cases. And few of the early problems. These social media in the enterprise can make your chief security officer stand up on that going, well, all of our critical methods and what we know, everything's in the network. Someone can just download that and start their own business. There are concerns about that. We do not see those stories happening. I used to have a big list of concerns, whole series of slides of that. So far, we've not seen almost any of those things. There was a data spill at AOL. But all the results are harder to pin down because they're just traditionally harder to measure. They should be happening, and probably are, but how do you measure better innovation? We don't really have good ways of measuring that. We don't see that being reported in any of the cases. So bottom line, repeatable, medium risk, still relatively you would be early majority if you did this. Proven benefit, we've seen, I can point you to a few dozen case studies of relative merit. We see a lot more, but only a few that actually measured something. Relatively rapid ROI. One of my favorite new case studies is from TransUnion. Their CEO recently reported it's actually a $2.5 million total recoup in 5 months with a $50K investment in the tools. That gets people's attention. That's almost a 50x return on investment. Usually business plans that approve if they have anywhere close to like 50% return on investment. We're seeing much higher. That's an extreme example of what we're seeing now. Ready for wide adoption is how we generally look at this. Another section I've included here, we're not going to go over in detail, but it's a very important open business model. It's this concept of open supply chain. So we're seeing companies starting to do this. It's the same type of open model that we see in social media, where we say, well, if opening up a lot of our information and creating communities for customers and everything is good, and opening up our business and actually letting people build on top of it should be very, very good. Amazon, of course, is a leader in this area. They're driving tremendous growth in their business with this. If you look at the blue line, that's their traditional websites that you normally go to and interact with and buy something from. If you look at the red line, that's the data in the company that they let anyone do anything they want with, and they charge for it. You can see that's on a much, much higher growth curve. Again, the reason I include this in particular is that what we're learning is the more you open up, the more you get back. They give away the blue bandwidth. They had to pay for their computers and the servers and the bandwidth and electricity, everything, and they give away the product catalog. You can go to the site for free and look at everything they have, and they hope you buy something. Whereas if they open up their data, 300,000 companies are currently using one form or another of their open services. They charge for that. That's their actual business. So we're keeping the actual numbers very close to the vest, but it represents a significant part of their product. So we see this big discussion around open platforms versus closed platforms. Here's two very big social media sites, Facebook and MySpace. And now Facebook is great depth, but MySpace. But notice here, I showed 2007, a very key point, a plateau that they had reached until they opened up their platform for anyone to build on top of. And that gave them tremendous results. We see this in other businesses now too. It's interesting, it's very traditional companies. Like the World Bank now has a developer network. They're starting to open up the data saying build on top. That's one of the emerging trends that we're seeing. I've written quite a bit about this, so I'm not going to go over it in more detail, but we see with open supply chains, we see good repeatability. Not everyone can do it. Can be costly, unproven in certain industries, but proven in many at this point. And a dramatic ROI. It's a strategic industry play depending on whether your company really is a native web player or not. So the other one I really wanted to focus on is this one here. This seems to be the one that is moving to the center of how to relate to customers on the network. This is the online community. This is much more than just social media, but that at its basic is social media style tools. They might be wikis and blogs, but they also include forums and social networks and user profiles and social messaging, put together into a cohesive story saying, hey, you love what we have. Come and socialize and share with others and meet other people like yourself, learn how to use the product better, share your ideas, sell your services, whatever. This is a community. All the things will be in a community are going to be here, and we're going to relate. The company will be there, and our customers will be there, and we can get all the good ideas from you. You can support each other to get all of the downstream benefits. So it's about eliciting participation on the network. And we have this is